encryption, the encryption side, and I used to getting into this field since 2017. And as I develop a system called the distributed governance system. It's more like a DAO now, but anyways, just I didn't get the red word, so nobody remember this. But yeah, it's kind of like a concept of the DAO. So far, yeah, that's a basic information of myself and the works we are doing. And also as for the teams, actually, now we got Blake, we got Tip as our CMO, who is very talented on the marketing side, and also we got Blake. He's a great game developer, and he's in charge of the whole gaming development side, and also he's really famous on the game side, especially for the AAA games. He just won the 2017 Best Steam VR Game Award for he just get this done by only one person, and within the 2 months time period. So that's really impressive and amazing. So very lucky that we got him and working with us, and actually he's one of the founders and he's one of the co-founders. Yeah, that's a kind of we got nearly 15 people working with us, and I won't say we got a kind of a really huge team, because nowadays every kind of GameFi's are announcing that they got very talented team, and they got a bunch of the workers, 100 or more or even more. But actually we don't do this. Actually, we think that we only use the correct people and the right numbers of the people. So we don't think that we need those the large team to doing this. But so far we are doing very well, and within the 15 people's team, and now 50 people's team, and now we are just continuously on the development side. We are not only doing game side development, and we also doing blockchain innovations. Like we got our new protocol. We call it we call it EIP 3664. It's kind of new NFT protocol that will support multiple operations on the NFTs. For instance, you can do combinations and separations on different NFTs, and you can modify the attributes of the NFT, and also you can staking tokens into NFT. That's the most interesting part, and which I love. And actually, we did a lot of works on this. Now I already saw a lot of the our community members are joining into this call, include Rubik and Gong and Magic, and I think that they are really familiar with they are very familiar with the features that what we are creating. Like you can modify each components of the NFT. Like you can see, my avatar is kind of like a NFT called Janitor. The Janitor has a head, and you can easily remove every part of the components. Like you can remove the hats and the sunglasses, and you can wear on new ones. And actually, as you can see that we got last month we got our monthly drop with bull and bear hats, and actually you can see that Rubik already wear the bull hats on. So actually, it's kind of like interesting part, and yeah, that's what we are doing now.
See why that's so interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like the Cradles project is so unique, and it's for us, it's so cool to learn, a little bit more about your background, and you definitely have some leaders and some big innovators in your team. I want to know though, right? Because we'll talk a little bit more about the merging of NFTs and that type of stuff, but where did the inspiration come from, right? Obviously I'm hearing about your background, but where did this motivation come from to create Cradles and the ideas behind it?
Yeah, it's a kind of it's a bit of a long story, to be honest. Actually, I just started with Cradles. It's just because that when I'm developing the game and when I'm doing my works, and I found that I'm really get tired of the old standard of NFTs, and I found that the old standards are existing nearly like 4 years, and I didn't see any changes on this, but it should be better. And then I just create EIP 364, and also I coming up with a thought that the thought is quite interesting. That I coming up with the thought that we should develop a kind of like a metaverse with a distributed time system. It's not about the technology side; it's about the time system. Because once you are talking about the metaverse, once you are talking about the metaverse, what's the difference with the metaverse and the game? Let's think about it. What's the difference with the metaverse and the game? The game is kind of like a manually created world. It's just a game, and once you experience on this, and there must be a certain end of the game. But once you are coming to the metaverse, like I give another examples like Sandbox or Decentraland, those kind of like traditional metaverses, they are only contains that there's only a space, and the people are gathering there, and you cannot experience on any kinds of the stories of the game. So it's not a game; it's more like a metaverse or a metaverse space. But there are certain cons of it. Like you don't have a time in the metaverse. So it's not a simulation to the real world. Once I'm building a metaverse, I'm always concerning that we should have something that is really similar to the real world. Like what's the most important feature of the real world? That is time. It's not clothes, it's not humans, it's time. We have time. That the time is unstoppable. The, it's just smoothly going forward. So how we can achieve this time system by using a distributed mechanism in the metaverse. That's the main issue I'm facing. So there's one day I just suddenly found out that we can simulate the real time system by just using the block time system. Actually, the block time itself is more like a distributed time system that no one can stop it. That's the most interesting part. So I just take my thoughts and I use the block time to simulate the real world time, and I come up with a distributed time system. And then I'm thinking about how we can come up with a metaverse that is making sense instead of just some hyping games or some like shilling games that the people are shilling around and they talking everywhere. They said, "Oh, coming into our metaverse, I can make you play to earn, and then everybody can join into the game and do, and then they're sooner or later this game will become a kind of like a who running so fast the game, who is creating fast the game. Okay, you don't even playing the game. Actually, you are just find another job and to just making money in the game. It's not a game. It's kind of like a workplace. So that's what I'm really get tired of it. So actually, I just create Cradles, and I don't think that I think that all the kind of creatures should have a place in the metaverse. So I call it Cradles because the whole world Cradles creates a lot of things like the animals and the extinct animals and nowadays existing the animals. So yeah, that's why I create Cradles, and with a bunch of the innovations included.
Man, like honestly, Ty, it's like it's really cool to like hear we it's cool to hear different perspectives on stuff, right? And so like the way you're talking about like time and like how it relates like to like the metaverse and these different spaces, like you were talking about sandbox and stuff, like it's it's just so interesting to hear about it from like a game developer's like perspective. Um, right
Exactly.
now, like yeah, like where are you guys at like in terms of like the project right now? Where are you guys at in terms of like development?
Yeah, actually, we to be honest, we already developed a lot of things, and now we already get our multiplayer versions. Then, to be honest, actually now we are just building all the things together, and I could say that we are almost like a half on the way and 50% then. And now we can already that many players can join into the game, but we need to wait till our quest system and the quiz system, battle system, and the blockchain part to be done. So now everybody can join into Cradles actually, and we are going to publish our alpha version by the mid of this year, and actually we're gonna do a several rounds test during during these months, and actually I gonna invite many communities members but also include our own communities members that join into the game and to experience the quality of the game. To be honest, now I just want people to experience the quality of Cradles, because nowadays you will find most of the GameFis are doing like low quality games, and it's not even a game. It's kind of like a many DeFis, and they are just they are not really doing things. So I just want people to come into Cradles and to experience what a game should be like. And once you got your interesting part, you will find that I can really having fun in Cradles. And it's not a kind of like a play to earn game actually. I don't like to at first I don't like to explaining Cradles as a play to earn game. Instead I would like to say that it's a game. It's just a game with a metaverse game. It's a kind of like a prehistorical thing game. So yeah, that's it. You don't need to put play to earn on the desk, but we do have this mechanism, right? So with this kind of like a marketing strategy, that we can attract the traditional users to come into our game, instead of just I'm announcing that if I'm announcing that Kratos is play to earn game, that nobody wanna join into this game from the traditional side. It's only crypto users. So because you are defining the actions, you are defining the actions of the users. You are defining your users are coming into games only for play to earn. But once you are looking into there's another insight, to be honest. Once you are looking into traditional game side, you will find that once you are talking about a really great MMO game, it's more like you are defining the game itself. You are defining the game is like a MMO game and prehistorical game and 2 by 6 games, so on and so forth. But once you are coming into the crypto game, all the games are play to earn. But play to earn are defining the users. It's not define it's not define the game itself. So that's a big difference, and I don't want to make this mistake anymore. So I won't call Cradles play to earn. Yeah, that's
No, I think TY, like that's like a super genuine and like direct response. And the whole point of us like doing the AMAs is so like we can like hear directly like from the creators and from the teams. So like when I'm looking at like the website or the white like I'm not seeing, you don't hear the same energy and the same sort of like background that we get like when we're talking directly. What's so cool about this is like I'm hearing initially like when I talk to you about like your motivations and like the ideas behind Cradles, like immediately it comes like you're talking about this like the time, right? And something that I was like noticing and researching even Cradles was like talking about like the bio chain, right? I think that there's a lot of like I love that your focus isn't just on the play to earn, that you're trying to generally create something that's it's like there's all these different terms, play to fun, or right? Like you want to create something that's genuinely fun, but also it's reflective of the real world, right? And like, can you talk about a little bit about like the bio chain? Like this has to be kept like in balance, right? And I think that you're doing a lot of unique stuff, but like one of the first things I want you to talk about is like, talk to us more about like the bio chain. Like,
of course.
Can you share that more with the community?
Yeah, for sure. And the biochain actually is kind of like a natural way for dealing with the animals, to be honest. Actually, once you are getting into the prehistorical world, you will find some precious extinct animals and how you're gonna deal with it and how the game should be deal with the animals. Actually, we are creating a biochain that if you are killing, if you're killing the animals, you will certainly get a bunch of the NFTs, right? This kind of like other thing, all the games are doing this. But if you are just if you can't control yourself and to killing actually one species, or you are killing one creatures for all, and there's no animals there are no animals existing on the world in the world, and also you will find that uh this animal will extinct again. So there will there will be no more NFTs related to this animal, and this animal will extinct forever in the Cradles world. That's a bell chain. That's a bell chain, and also the animals in the wild will attack each other once they are finding each other as enemies. So that's kind of like interesting AI innovations. It's more like a real world spell chain that you once you are killing animals so much you cannot get NFTs, you cannot get their NFTs anymore. So you need to be carefully on huntings, especially for the most precious creatures. So yeah, that's it. So you need to keep the best
Yeah,
members of
that's
the
beautiful.
animals.
That that's really beautiful, because you have all these games and all these projects that are like trying to create these worlds and not recognizing, what exists like in our world. And, in a way, I believe that you're really trying to like, bring these ideas and these concepts together. So, in creating like, the Cradles, ecosystem, like you're thinking about like the real world attributes and how that like relates.
Yeah,
But then
that's
you're
the point.
also creating, yeah, but then you're also creating something like special and incredible. Like for example, like someone can actually like inhabit the bodies of these like prehistoric giants, right? Like, can you like like talk a little bit about that?
Uh, Actually, the players cannot just inhabit the bodies of the prehistorical giants, but they are inhabit in the they are inhabit in the cradles, and the cradles lands. It's not in someone's body. It's on cradles land, and the players can experience a lot of things. And actually, you can see a real world. You can see a prehistorical theme real worlds as Cradles. And actually, once you are coming into the game, you will find that there are village you are boarding, and you will just you will need to finish a lot of tasks, and then you will be able to count coming out of the novice village, and then you will just you can hunting in the world, and you can making profits for killing those precious animals and to get their NFTs. But as I said before, you don't want to obey the barrel chain, and you need to be on the numbers of the you carefully on the numbers of the animals, because we don't really drop the same species again into the Kratos world. So yeah, actually, for this part, actually, you're not inhabiting the bodies of prehistorical giants, but it's more like you are inhabit with the you are inhabit the Kratos world, and actually the Kratos world itself, we are creating the game itself to be an NFT, and thanks for our new standard EIP 364. We have the power to build everything into NFTs, and the NFTs can interact with each other, and they can combine together, and they can just separate apart. That's the power of EIP 364. And also we got our new tokenomic, which is totally different with other kinds of gamifies, because nowadays all the gamifies are doing copycats from the uh, uh, are doing copycats from X Infinity, and there are kind of like a similar usage of the tokens and similar NFT pre-sales and so on and so forth. But I don't really. I don't really like these patterns because you know these patterns will block the new users to come into the game because the NFT price will gonna be hyped. So yeah, we are creating a new tokenomic related to our new standard. I will talk it later.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are really doing a lot of like unique stuff. I mean, the NFTs, I know, like you alluded to it early on in the conversation, but like what you guys are doing with like the in-game NFTs, like they can actually be used in terms of like interacting like with the creatures, right? Um, like, can you tell us more about like this and like the role and like because this actually plays a role in shaping the worlds of Cradles, like the NFTs play a direct role in that. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and just
Yeah,
educate us?
yeah. Actually, I'm not educating everyone. I just you know to introduce Kratos yeah, but you know once you are coming to the NFT side, yeah, everybody can use the in-game NFTs and to interacting with these creatures. Actually the I think that the interacting word is means like to just attacking and to just you know as for creatures most of them are huntable, so actually once you are saying that you are interacting actually is kind of like a killing, but you need to keep the numbers of them to be at a very health position. So yeah, you can use the NFTs to hunting animals, and you can do whatever you want. And also that's the one of the most interesting part in our game that you can build what kind of items you gain to into NFTs, and yeah, that would also shaping the world of Cradles because the people are not buying weapons or they are buying properties. You will find that that's the most interesting part that comparing with other GameFi's or Metaverse games they are announcing. We are not doing pre-sales for weapons for our game properties that nowadays everybody are doing this, right? That they are selling the most expensive crafts or the properties and the weapons and even the characters. But we didn't do this because that all the players can join into the game, and we are a subscription-based game. If you subscribe our game, you can join into the game and you can build your own NFTs by yourself. You can collect the materials in the world and you can case the weapons and case the game properties by yourself. So instead of just you just buy the man to play the game. It's not a game. It's kind of like an investment, right? So yeah, that's we are doing this. So actually we just separate investment and play into two parts because once you are seeing nowadays NFT projects, you will find a kind of like a potential assumption. A potential assumption that is that once you are buying an NFT, you just combine investment and playing together. So actually now I just want to separate them apart because the investment is investment and the play you are having fun, but investment you want to earn money. So actually I just put more values on the tokens instead of the NFTs, and I just using the NFTs only for usages instead of just hypes or investment. That's it. So yeah, let's talking back to the in-game NFTs. Can you use them for interacting with the creatures? Of course you can.
You know, it's so interesting because you really are you're doing so much. A lot of projects come forward and they say, oh, we're doing one thing unique, here's what we're doing, right? But obviously, as like I'm hearing you speak tonight, it's really genuine on how much you've thought through this. You know, also learning it's not like this is something that you said, oh, we're going to start on this date and here's our launch date. I mean, it sounds like mentally, you know, and this is a project and this is something that you've been thinking through and working on. You know, throughout your development, right? Obviously, as a very talented, developer and engineer. You know, Another interesting thing, and again, I'm only learning about like I'm learning so much more talking to you tonight. This is really an incredible experience, and I want to learn about the game modes. Can you talk about these? Obviously, this excites our community. I know that this is also something that that you put a lot of thought into. I want to ask you more about the NFT stuff, but can you talk to us a little bit about the game modes?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, the game modes actually mainly for the game modes is kind of like the open world. Like you are getting into the game and you are experiencing the different tasks and missions, and you can hunt any kinds of the animals, and you can get their NFTs. Actually, you can do whatever you want in the game. So actually, it's not like we don't have a certain game modes like 5 versus 5 or those kind of like PUBG game. Actually, we don't do this because that we are only focusing on the open world. So even though yeah we will include different kind of like the we call it instances, like we got different instances, and once you are coming to the instances you will get different game modes, and actually it's kind of like a gaming game. So as for the Cradles game, we are only having one mode that you can do in everything. That is open world. But once you are looking into the instances, you also can having fun into different instances. And also we are now coming into we are now coming out many editors actually, to be honest, that the players once they have once they are joining to the game, and once they can reach a certain level, they can create their own world, and they can letting the animals to exist in their lands. Actually, it's not like the previous projects. Like once you are looking into the totally open world, I call it totally or pure open world, that there's no game stories, there's no monsters, there are only spaces, and that they are selling the lands, and they are selling everything for expensive prices. But once you are looking into Cradles, we want to create a new world, so that once the players are creating their own lands and creating their own homelands, they will be able to using our editor to aid monsters and animals in their homelands. Actually, they won't attack you, but they won't attack the enemies, and they won't that they will contact they will just attack the other players are coming into your homeland. So only with your permission that the monsters and the animals won't attack your friends. So that's a kind of like an interesting part, and we do have a lot of the game modes are coming to the Cradles, but the very first and the very first priority is we are creating the open world.
No, that's so cool. Like I liked what you talked about, like in terms of like the management. And like again, one of the things I was like looking into as I was like research, like I was all excited to talk with you tonight, so I was trying to do as much research as possible. And I saw this it was like city management, right? Where like a player actually needs to like manage a settlement and also the inhabitants. Um, I know this is only just one of the examples, but personally, I was interested in this. So can like you talk a little about this and just share kind of this element of the project with our community?
Yeah, actually, we got different city states. Now we are planning to build seven city states in the Cradle store, and yeah, actually, the once you have your levels, you are leveling up, and you will take place of the previous lord of this city state. So actually, was as for it's more like a DAOing game. Actually, we are distributing roles through different players, which they have their ability to manage a city states, or manage a small group of people. So actually, there are certain roles in the game, and the most advanced role is the Lord of the City States. And now, actually, all the seven city states are having their lords, the lords is more like the NPC with a special backgrounds. And once the NPCs are recognizing there are some players can take place of him, they will just retire and to give the lord to another player. So actually, the player is the new lord, and he will just manage the whole cities, include the economy side, include the battle side, include the armies, and actually there are a lot of things that they can do. Like they can holding military events for different city states. They can attack different city states, and they can doing multiple kind of like holding a war, starting a war, and different kind of like whatever you want. Actually, it's kind of like as I said, it's an open world, and people can once the people are joining to Cradles, they will find this is a real game instead of just some shooting things.
Okay, so I want to be a lord. I think that's like the goal.
Yeah,
I want to have one of the city states, right?
yeah,
Also from what I understand, like, there's hidden treasures, there's loots. Uh, you know, from talking with you tonight, like this has been really interesting. And one of the things I've gathered right from the start is that like you're not doing everything like everyone else is, right? You're doing stuff that's different. So when we
yeah.
talk about the treasures, when we talk about the loot, it's not armor only, it's not just weapons. Can you elaborate a little bit on all of this? Because I know you guys are doing some like again,
Yeah.
everything you're doing is pretty unique.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, the treasuries and loots, yeah, we do have this heading in the whole world, and we got different maps, and you can get into different maps to collect those treasuries and loot. That's why we are encouraging people to experience the game instead of just to just be a manner in the game and to minting crystals every day. So it's not so fun, and to be honest, it's not profitable. So actually, we are just educating our players is that you don't need to focusing on the the mechanical activities, and just to focusing more on the adventures and more on the explorations of the whole world, so that you will find the treasures and loot. Uh, you will certainly can sell them as for profits, but also you can keep them to making usages in your future adventures. So yeah, it's not just armors or weapons. It's all the things, like you can gain crystals, and also you can even gain the Cradles coin in the world. So actually, it's kind of like a really interesting open world that once you are joining into the game, you will see.
Yeah, yeah. And so just like so on that, right? You're talking about like the crystals. Um these can be like bought and sold or like with NFTs, like these can be bought and sold using the energy crystals. Like can you give us more information like on the energy crystals and um also like talk a little bit about like the time mechanism here?
Yeah, actually, I think that I already explained enough for the time mechanism that in maybe in the previous very first questions. And as for the energies can be used for exchange. Of course, it's kind of like ERC-20. So the energy crystal is more like to using it in game. It's I'm just seeing the Cradle's coin is more like an equity that people can using it for more profits. And the crystals is a kind of like a common article in the game that you can buy and sell different kind of the in-game properties, and you cannot using Cradle's coin to buy any kinds of the properties. To be honest, actually the crystals is using as more like a currency instead of the Cradles coin. The Cradles coin is more like a useful token, or nowadays people always talking them as a governance token. So now I want to talk. I want to name it as a DAO token. To be honest, I
Okay.
like the DAO token. You can use for everything. You can staking the DAO token into weapons and properties to strengthen it, and you can use it for staking into pools, for coming with a certain LP, for constructing a certain LP, and also you can single staking for profits, and you can just keep them and to having some energies and crystals in game and to play the game for free. So actually the crystals is using for buy and sell different properties in game. You cannot buy Cradles coin. You cannot using Cradles coin to buy any kind of the uh, uh, properties in game. But you only can use crystals to buy them. And also the crystals you can maintain the crystals in a certain in a certain in a certain castle, and once you are getting into this place, you will find there are certain bunch of the crystals, and you can use your tools to maintain those crystals. And the tools themselves is more like properties, and you can wear them on, and of course you need some materials to case them, because at first that nobody have those NFTs. You need to build it. You need to make the NFTs by yourself. You cannot buying them anywhere. So once you have the energy crystal, you can do everything in the Cradles world. And also we got some governance usages for the crystals that we don't really focusing on the Cradles coins, because we believe that the players are also a part of the governance side, because that you know there are some traditional players that they are not familiar with the NFTs, and they don't know how to buy Cradles coins, because the Cradles coin got a lot of like the complex operations. Like you need to know how to connect to your wallet, you need to know how to connect to the staking pools and approve the contracts. But once the things come into crystals, we want to make it more simpler. Just kind of like normal currencies in the traditional games, and this will certainly attract the traditional gamers to come into Cradles, because that once they are playing other kinds of games like Hiluvim or Star Sharks, they need to first know how to use the wallet and then come into the game. So why don't they just going into the traditional game side and to playing the traditional games is much easier, right? So yeah, I want to make all the things easier for the energy crystal side and leave the crypto operations mainly on the Cradles coin. That makes sense, and that will attract more users to come into the game. So yeah, and actually, once you are seeing these kind of two things as separated, so how we can keep the real players and the energy crystals holders to have the governance power as well. So actually, that's why we are adding the governance usages on the crystals as well. So both the Cradles coins and the energy crystals has their governance usages, but obviously the Cradles coin has a large amount of the governance usages, but energy crystals only has a little bit of them. Yeah.
It's really cool how you're splitting it up there, and like, I can tell in like everything that you're doing, there's an incredible amount of thought going into it. I mean, it's really informative to learn all this from you. Can you talk a little bit about the epic loop drops? This is something that was brought up by our community tonight, and it'd be awesome to get like a little bit of like more detail here.
Yeah, as for the worst jobs, I don't really quite clear on what kind of jobs is. It may talking about the air jobs. It's also may talking about the in-game jobs. As for the air jobs, we don't really drop any kinds of epic loots into the communities. And to be honest, we don't really drop all kinds of NFTs, but we do have drops on the tokens. So we don't really focus on the NFTs. On NFTs can only be freely minted by the users and freely trading by the users instead of we creating for you. So as for the epic loots, we don't do this, but we do have tokens drops. Actually, we are all focusing on the tokens. We are adding values on the tokens instead of the NFT itself. So yeah, actually, kind of like epic loot drops in game. I really want to talk about. So in the game, in the Cradles, once you are hunting the most dangerous animals, you will get a kind of like a percentage to you will get a probability to gain the epic loot. And of course, we do have it. And once you are killing the boss, of course you will have your revenues and rewards, and the rewards will probably be the epic loot. And then but actually as for the bosses, we recommend all the players are making up a group and to hunting them. So actually you need to discuss, you need to roll the points and to decide the epic loot owner. So you need to decide who gonna get this epic loot. Once if the epic loot only drop for one loot, right? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm learning so much in this conversation, and I know some of these questions might seem like basic to you, but I really, really appreciate you like having patience and explaining all this stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, yeah, it's like it's super clear. Like the NFTs, a lot of the projects, it's about like collecting or finding equipment. The equipment has one use. Obviously, like you guys are merging. Like what you're doing is really unique. A little bit about the attributes and like kind of like the four categories that you guys have. I think like for my own knowledge for everyone, like can you tell us a little bit about like the four categories and like how these attributes like are relayed to the NFTs?
Yeah, actually, the NFTs is more is it's not only have four categories, and actually, we are doing a bunch of the works, and we don't really see NFTs only have four categories, but we do have more categories, like even 10 or more categories on the NFTs, because you are defining the uh I don't like to illustrate the NFTs in game to be like the NFTs. Like I really like to say the NFTs like items or the articles. So as for the common articles, as for nowadays real world articles, you don't have four categories, right? So you will have a bunch of the categories. It may be food, it may be properties, it may be armors or weapons, and so on and so forth. So four categories cannot it's not enough for us to illustrate the categories of the NFTs or the articles. So we will have more categories in the Cradles world. So yeah, but we are also designing on this. Actually, now we got seven parts of it. We got as for the properties, we got seven parts of properties, and now we are refining our website, and you will see them soon in our website informations.
It's so cool. Like TY, sorry, like, I was reading a lot of the stuff on the website and the white paper, talking a little
Yeah,
bit like
we
in
are
the
updating on
Discord and
this.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so cool though. But I think that's what's awesome is like how much like back thought is going, you know, every move that you guys are doing in the development of the game, it so clearly has so much thought that's going into it. You're using like pre-existing like examples, but then you're also like adding all these different, whether it's the time mechanism, the attributes, like you're evolving like the space, like, and it's really cool to see that. Um, you know, the tokenomics, like that's a subject that's, of interest to our community, obviously. Can you share a little bit about like you've gone into some detail, but just to give like a general statement, can you talk a little about the tokenomics related to Cradles?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, we are doing things very, very differently because that we are noticed that there are a lot of copycats in the market and they are doing shit, but they are announcing that they are doing good. So as for the tokenomics, as there are most of the tokenomics already included in the white paper, and also I want to explain more on the other side, that is the usages of the token, and the generally the NFTs, how the tokens are interactive with NFTs, and what kind of tokens are related to different players they can buy, and so on and so forth. So as for the tokenomics, we do have tokens of tokens, which is the Cradles coin and the crystals. As for the Cradles coin, it's more like we want to separate the usages and the equity into different parts. For the equity, is the Cradles coin is more like a governance token. It has a hard cap. It has a certain limited numbers. So actually, you can see the Cradles coin as an equity of Cradles. As for once you are holding equities, we can offer different usages for you to use in equities. In the previous stories, like the other game fest, the game are always encouraging you to staking your tokens into pools for getting more LPs. But now we don't encourage you to do everything, but also you can, of course, you can staking your tokens into pools for profits. But also we do have another kinds of tokenomic usages for you. That is, you can staking your tokens into NFTs. That's the most exciting part that we're creating. So what means that you can staking your tokens into NFTs? For instance, you got a weapon and you are using crystals to enhance it, and then you are getting into a certain levels of the certain levels weapons, for instance, from +1 to +7, and then you will have a chance to staking your Cradles coin into your weapon to strengthen it. For instance, I'm staking my 10,000 Cradles coins into my weapon for a 3 months time period. Then your weapon will be strengthened by a 3 months time period, and that's the most exciting part, that you can staking your tokens into your NFTs and to strengthen your NFTs and your weapons. And once you are hunting the animals using this weapon, you will get more revenues on this, because you are paying your efforts, you are paying your money into this weapon, so you deserve it. And also, we do have a hard cap of staking, right? Because you cannot unlimited staking your Cradles coin into your weapons, because otherwise the many people are only using level 1 swords to hunting the most dangerous bosses. It's not acceptable. So once we do have hard caps for different levels weapons. For instance, you got your level 1 weapon, you can staking like 100 Cradles coin into your weapon. But once you are getting the most advanced, like you got a level 11, or you got your level let's say 11 or level 100 weapons, and you got higher level weapons, you will need of the Cradles coins to staking into the weapons. For instance, you will need maybe a million Cradles coins to staking into 100 levels weapons for more profits, and to reach out the hard cap of this weapon. So how you can achieve this? That's the most exciting part. That is, you can let other people to staking into your weapons, but of course they will have their revenues once you are hunting the animals. So that's kind of like a payback, right? You can let other people to staking into your weapons, and you can, like, if you are playing very well, you don't have money, but you are playing very well, you can gathering a bunch of your fans by streaming, right? So that you can just yielding you can just announcing that every fans of you can staking their tokens into your weapons, and you are playing well, and you time for playing this game. So okay, you can get profits for your fans, and you can play every day, and you will certainly get you will certainly get more profits, but you know some of the profits will pay back to your stakers. So that's the most interesting part. That no one has achieved this because they don't have 3664, and they cannot staking the tokens into NFTs because their NFTs only 721 is normal ones, or it cannot be changeable. But we have 3664. That's the most powerful things that we got.
Yeah, it's like you use the word interesting. Like when I hear it, it's innovative, right? Like you guys are really, I mean, it's interesting how you're saying, oh, you can do the staking, and then all of a sudden, like you're elaborating even more and being like, yeah, other people can stake like into it. It really, I think that you're pushing, you're really, it's obvious like you're pushing the envelope, and you've thought through a lot of this stuff, and just from hearing you speak, it's still evolving, right? And I think it's incredible the innovation that that you're introducing like through your project. Um, I really I can't thank you enough for sharing all this stuff with us tonight.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, like this is not like always the easiest subject for us to talk about, but like, we want to hear about the game, but like, there's other things, right? Like obviously our communities, there's been a lot of volatility in the market, right, as of late. When you think about like the development of your game, will any of this volatility, will that hinder the development or the launch dates or anything that you guys have going on?
Nope. Actually, we already finished our fundraising itself. So actually, that won't bother us that won't bother us. Not even a little bit. So yeah, we are just continuously developing on the whole things, and we believe we will get more fans when they are digging into the mechanism that we are building. So I would like to say that for other events, token buyers is a kind of like a risky thing, to be honest. It's kind of like even though once you are buying any kinds of tokens, it's kind of risky. But you know it's because we are doing things very differently, and we are creating a lot of innovations on the tokenomics, and also as well as the NFT standard, and also the gameplays itself. So I will not say that we are 100% to be successful, but we are doing innovations on this market, and I haven't seen any kinds of the projects are really they are really focusing on the innovations, and they are always announcing a lot of a lot of works like they are announcing that they are AAA games, but suddenly coming out with a kind of like a card game, to be honest, and they are only doing trading stuff instead of the real game. So I was annoying, so I'm here, and I really want to build a proud game, and I want to be I want all the players to be proud of joining into Cradles, and also I want all the Cradles. Actually, we call all the Cradles fans to Cradles. I want all the Cradles to be proud of Cradles, and to really enjoying the game. Because once you are enjoying the game, you will find a certain ways for making money, and you will find a certain more easy ways for making profits, instead of just nowadays other people, all the other projects are announcing that once you are joining, you can making profits, but bullshit. Where the money comes from? So that's a kind of ultimate, that's the ultimate question, is where the money comes from. Nobody now in the market can frankly talking about this question, that where the money comes from. But we can frankly tell you that we don't only have crypto users, but we do have a bunch of the traditional users. We are the first projects are collaborating with the the Latin biggest game media called Level Up. So we are expanding our marketing into traditional users. But now we all know that traditional game players are always worrying about the NFTs because there are two things they are really worrying about. That is the first one is the NFT price is getting higher and higher, so they won't they want to pay a lot for playing the game once they are uh, uh, the traditional players are afraid of paying money at first. So actually, it is kind of like a really different with the traditional partners, right? So how we can attract the traditional users to come into this game? That's the the core ability that we gain, and also that's the most interesting part. And we are different with others, that we are a subscription based game, that the traditional gamers can treat Cradles as a traditional game, but the crypto gamers can also can also see Cradles as a crypto game. That's the most interesting part. We are in the middle of them. We are a balanced game. We are not a crypto game. We are a traditional game. We are standing on the middle of them. So that's why we are really comparing with other GameFi's. We are always doing the right things. I won't say that we gonna be 100% success, but we are doing the right things.
Yeah, and I think you're also like you said, you're building the strong community around your project. Everything you're doing, excuse me, everything that you're doing is extremely well thought out. And just hearing just through this conversation tonight, I came in really interested in Cradles. I was really excited to talk with you. And, after this conversation, I mean, there's so many different elements that you've thought about and integrated into the project that, this is something I'm definitely going to be thinking about like after the call tonight. I'm super excited about the partnership that we have. Can you talk a little bit more, like just to the community and to the audience, like what does the relationship like mean to you between like Cradles and PathDAO?
Yeah, actually, we already have with PathDAO, and I really appreciate on this. And in the future, Cradles will be with PathDAO and to contributing to the metaverse together, and to make metaverse to be a fan place instead of a workplace. And that's the ultimate that's the ultimate destination we want to build. So yeah, Cradles and all the credits can be with can be with PathDAO community, and also PathDAO's community can also join into Cradles and experience on every half a month AMA, and we gonna do everything together, and we are listening to our community instead of just other games are just announcing that, oh, we are selling NFTs, we are selling this, we are selling that, and we are doing IO, right, and we didn't have a game, but we will come out soon. It's not a style we are doing this. It's not a style we are doing things, but once you are joining into the Cradles community, you will find that we are doing things very differently, and we are listening to our communities, and we are even let the communities to pick your best characters to pick your favorite characters to aiding into the game. So that's the most exciting part of it, that we always have the events with the community, and we are expanding our communities, and in the future we will grow with PathDAO. We will having our growth with PathDAO and together. Yeah.
TY, I really can't thank you enough. From the first like response that you gave like tonight, it was just very clear like really how much has gone into this. You not to like put down any other projects, but like you alluded to in your conversation, is that you're not trying to just be this or just trying to be that. You're really like creating like your own path, and what like just resonated so much with me from the beginning is like the time connection, the connection to the real world, like the fact that like we are existing in this digital virtual metaverse world, but like there needs to be that connection and that tie back like to the real world. And the mechanisms that you're adding that, into your project, the way you're thinking about, utility is such a big term now that everyone's talking about right now with NFTs and the games. But the way that you're almost like redefining and rethinking about this utility is it's really refreshing, right? Because you're creating
Yeah,
your own
that was
direction, and
yeah.
yeah, you're really doing something special. And you know, um like I can tell you like from the conversation tonight myself personally, like this is there's a lot to think about after this conversation. So I would love to have you come back here in a couple weeks for another AMA. We're going to be switching stuff up to doing like more in like video format, which you know it might make some of the guests that we're having on like a little bit nervous, but look at it more as also an opportunity where we can then show graphically a lot of the stuff that like we're talking about tonight. So I really really appreciate your time, and look forward to speaking to you again in the weeks ahead, because I know you got a lot going on, and we'll have a lot of discussion within our community after the AMA tonight, and I can't wait to follow up with you again.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just catch up. Yeah, let's just catch up in the future. Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks the community with Space Doll, and really really happy to collaborating with you guys. And thanks for the audience, all the audience. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, for sure, TY. You did awesome tonight, and we'll definitely be following up with like this was a great conversation tonight. And the next conversation like we'll go even into more in depth, and we'll probably bring even some of our community members in, because I know that we'll all sort of have questions tonight. You guys, you're really innovating, and we appreciate that.
Thanks, buddy, and thanks for your time, and thanks to all my audience. Yeah,
Cool. Let's go Cradles. Let's
yeah,
go PathDAO. Yeah, much
yeah.
love to everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for
Yeah,
listening
bye
tonight.
guys. Bye
Thank you. Thank
guys.
you.